This is exclusive information brought to you only on NDTV. We're learning information that the Iran war has accelerated India's long-range drone push. That's right, that's important information we're tracking for you at this hour as the new Shahid-type drone project Kal has now been unveiled. Now the project Kal Drone development has been fast-tracked in India as India speeds the Shahid-style drone projects. We're also learning that the Sheshnag drone has been tested in a highway launch drill. Now this has in fact accelerated indigenous drone strike systems in India is what we're tracking at this hour. On this we also have our managing editor Shivaru joining us from the broadcast. Shiv, the conflict in the Middle East is continuously being dubbed as the war of low-cost drones, with the US even enlisting Ukraine's help to fight the Shahid drones. And I believe that this has even triggered movement towards low-cost drones in other countries as well. Walk us through the details.
This is a very interesting piece of breaking news, Reet, where something that's happening in Iran is looking at the Indian military revalidate its concept post-Operation Sindoor. Many of the things happening in the Iran war right now are actually a confirmation and a validation of how the Indian Army, the Indian Air Force have been looking at drone warfare since Operation Sindoor. Now, these two projects, the picture you see on the bottom of your screen of the Sheshnag drone being launched off a Toyota pickup truck on a highway is a test that happened just last week after the war had actually started. And the picture on the top half of our screen is something called Project Kal, which is a new Shahid-type drone, long-range strike drone project that's been unveiled by an Indian startup called IG Drones. So the Sheshnag is by an Indian startup called New Space. So India's drone ecosystem is very much in top gear right now, and looking at the kind of havoc that has been wrought by the Shahid drone, how the United States has had to go to the Ukraine for help in dealing with this is a kind of affirmation, really, that these low-cost, slow-moving, fairly rudimentary, not very sophisticated drones are causing much more damage and imposing many more costs in this war on both sides, really, than some of the more high-powered, advanced, high-performance systems. So India very much was able to use some of these drone systems during Operation Sindoor, but the Iran war is proof that that kind of thing, even in a very hyper-digital, modern battlefield environment, those drones still have a very, very compelling kind of space. So this isn't that India is looking at Iran and learning from it and then doing this. It's just that this is a validation, and these two projects, which have already been in the works, are only getting speeded up now. For example, am learning that the Indian Army, the Indian Air Force have been in touch with some of these startup companies, which had a role to play already during Operation Sindoor, and have basically sent word to them saying, get cracking, let's move fast on these drone projects, because clearly, as far as India's warfare needs are concerned, these drones have sort of proven their point both in Iran, in Ukraine, in Operation Sindoor as well, and that's why we need them as quickly as possible. At this point of time, India uses long-range strike drones, which are actually of Israeli origin, like the Harop and certain others. But these two, which is the Sheshnag, which is by New Space, and Project Kal, which is an upcoming drone project by IG Drones, are just two of possibly a whole sort of offering a whole spectrum of drones of this kind that are being created right now. Important point to note finally is that it's not just the drone. The drone is the easy part of all of this. Where India actually adds another layer to all of this is the software code, the algorithms that will guide these drones, create these devastating swarm attacks using such drones at long range that are able to saturate enemy air defenses and get the job done. That's the other layer. So this isn't just cloning the drones and creating India's version of something. This is actually adding a very, very important layer, which is the electronics, the code that actually guides them, making them artificially intelligent, making them independent, being able to search for targets themselves, that kind of thing. So this is very, very promising as far as what the Indian military needs.